They feel as if their house is attacking them. The trouble started this spring, they say, just days after their attic was treated with spray foam insulation.
Oh, so about 10 or 12 years ago, there was a video that CBS did, or actually a story on the news, about some homeowners that built their dream home. Dream home they had spray foamed, and I guess the spray foam turned to an egg smell, and they couldn't get rid of the egg smell. I just want to kind of review that video with you real quick and show you what we believe happened there so it doesn't happen to somebody in the future. All right, so you just hired a contractor to come over and spray foam your dream home, and that's exactly what this video is about. These folks spent probably $20,000, $30,000, even way back in 10, 12 years ago to spray foam this house. You really want to know exactly what you're getting. So just be aware, there are different stages of foam out there. Obviously you got the open cell, but at the same time there's hybrid foam, which is maybe like a 1.2 pound, and closed cell, it could be a 1.6 pound or it could be up to a 2 pound. You really want to stick with that 2 pound closed cell. I mean, that's really kind of the go-to. Depending on different areas, obviously, depends on what the specs might require you to do. When the guys come out and they start spraying, you're going to see they've got two 55-gallon drum setups inside their rig. They've got a mixing chamber inside the rig that's running through a hose up to the gun. It mixes at the gun. So when they've got that pressure set, they're mixing two separate chemicals at the tip of the gun when the guy pulls the trigger.
Serious chemicals he's specially trained to handle. The conditions have to be just right. And the foam has to be sprayed in thin layers so it can cure, allowing the chemicals to stabilize.
Okay, so when a contractor shows up to the house, there are a couple things that an experienced installer is going to be watching for. Temperature and humidity are huge. Obviously, the temperature outside is important because he has his cold material out there, or it's not cold yet, but if it's out in the cold, it's going to be cold. So he's got drum heaters on it. He'll probably close the door. He probably has a heater inside there to keep it warm. But the building itself is huge. So let's say it's an empty house that doesn't have heat yet, and we're coming through and we're going to spray it. In that case, we're going to be heating up that space to make sure it's of temperature. So let's say it's like a pole barn, for instance, that has metal siding. When we go to heat up that space, if it's cold outside and we heat up the inside of that building, that metal is going to sweat. So the sweat, the condensation that's being created on that metal, we're not really going to want to spray to that because the foam's not going to adhere properly to that situation. I really don't think that had anything to do with this video and what happened here, but just to make mention of it, something to watch out for. Keep an eye on it. When your installers get there, ask them some questions about it. Make sure everything's as planned.
When the salesman was here, he may have mentioned it. I don't recall, but out of all the pamphlets or all the paperwork I got or all my quotes, nothing in there that says that I should have stayed out of the house. That would have stuck in my head.
So if you're deciding on spray foam, what you want to do is really follow the proper recommendations. They're saying stay out of the house for 24 hours. We do have some homeowners that abide by that. Others, we're going to vent the space while we're spraying, and by the time 2-3 hours are done and we're cleaned up and out of there, the smell has dissipated to the point where you really don't smell anything at all. Another thing is really the guy that wrote the job or came out and gave you the estimate, either him or somebody in management should be out at that job toward the end of the process, because it's really easy for the contractor to write the scope, send it to their guys, have the guys go and install it, and never see the house again, which is really the worst thing he can do on his end. And not only that, the homeowner really doesn't know that the job's done properly. You're really kind of relying on the field guys to make sure that they know what they're doing. I would also recommend a blower door test be done after the fact. Really a blower door test, what we're doing is we decompress the building and pull all the air out of the house. And what it's doing is it's showing us, is that house too tight or is it too loose? Did we miss a spot? What's going on in each space of that house? So while they're running that test, that guy can walk through the house and break down each and every bedroom and figure out, do we have a real loose situation in one area? Or did we make the house too tight where it's going to trap the moisture and, maybe create a problem more than solve a problem? There are solutions for that. If the house is too tight, we may have to add mechanical ventilation to the building to make up air.
Okay, bedroom. Oh yeah, I can smell that.
Oh yeah.
Jeez. Pretty strong, yeah. It's foul, like bad fish smell.
The hotter it gets, the more it smells.
Right.
The more.
Okay, so there's a few different things that would cause this, and it is possible. Not to say any one of these are causing this problem for these homeowners, but one thing could be just it's a low quality foam, or maybe it's an expired foam. So when you think about it, foam is a chemical. Just like anything, you store it long enough and eventually the expiration date kicks and it's no longer good. It should be disposed of. It shouldn't be used. So another thing that would cause this is improper mixture. So when you think about it, if we have a two-part agent where we're trying to mix those two parts together, no matter what that chemical is, we want to make sure that we have the ratio correct to react properly. So what we do is when our guys show up to a job, they spray off foam into a bag. So we set our ratios as we're spraying off into a garbage bag. You can see the front side of this looks really good, sets up perfectly. And when I flip it over, this was our test piece. And you can see as we were setting up our mixture ratios, this is all bad foam here and here. So as he was spinning his gun around and twisting everything up and making sure everything was right, you can see the very first edges here are not adhered properly and they definitely didn't mix properly. This is something you want to watch out for. Obviously, it's tough for a homeowner to watch this, but really what you're looking for is making sure you have a competent contractor, making sure they're reputable, making sure they haven't had issues in the past. And if they did have issues, making sure that they handled the issues properly. You know, it's a tough business. It's something that sometimes there is going to be an issue. It's really a matter of how that contractor handled the issue. Either way, you definitely want to, err to the side of caution, stay out of the house, do all the basic rules that they were talking about in that video. I have probably done, I don't know, maybe 5,000 or 10,000 houses with spray foam over the last 15 years. I've never experienced a problem like that, nor have I ever heard of a problem like that happening locally. So I think that CBS thing may be a little bit of a scare tactic. You know, the news, that's how they get views. You know, that's how they get the ratings, by scaring the public and kind of making a story out of something that may not be 100% true every time. This is a real rare instance. I do believe it's happened. You know, I do believe that's a real situation and that definitely can happen. It's just, I think it's an extreme rarity that you really don't see too often. And I personally have never seen it before.
If you pick spray foam, make sure the installer is certified and experienced.
Something that you just got to watch out for, but as long as you're picking a reputable contractor and they have a proven track record, you really shouldn't have any problems. Downfall to this is there's really no licensing involved. There's no schooling involved. You know, somebody can just go buy a rig one day and be installing foam the next day. So you really just want to pick somebody that has a proven track record in the past. So if you decide you're going polyurethane spray foam, you know, it's definitely the best way to go. It's going to be the most expensive way to go, but it does pay you back over the years and it is worth the money. If you have any comments or questions, by all means, you know, if we can help you at all, contact us at Woodmaker. Thanks for watching.